Alright, TNA, Impact Zone fam. Right, how's it going today? So I said that we would do this at some point. I did say that we would check in on the ratings again and whatnot. We just haven't done it. It has just been crazy, just been insane. And I kind of wanted to wait till Slammiversary to kind of get a better picture of things. Now, I'm not going to really dive too much into the first few episodes because we've really talked about them already, but I will obviously mention them. But we're going to go a lot. I can't remember when we actually, the last one, it was like 9 or 10, I think, somewhere around there. So I'll go through the first like 9 to 10 all together, because that's roughly where I think we got to last time, roughly. So episode 1, this is all on AMC, B2W, if you didn't realize, 173K. Ep 2, 171K. Ep 3, and these are before the change in the ratings, I think, as well. So keep that with that in mind. Was 201K episode 4, 241K episode 5, 254K episode 6, 233K. Same as episode 7. Episode 8 was 249K. Episode 9 was 259K. Episode 10 was 250K. So, that those numbers are pretty decent for TNA, having had, like, I think their best numbers being like 20K or something like that, I think, before. So, again, like, more than a tenfold increase. So that's really significant. And I think Collision is like 300 something K, I think, or thereabouts, like they average 300K. So, only like 50K behind, which isn't terrible. I mean, it's not amazing. Obviously, we would love to have like 500,000 or 1,000,000 or whatever, or even more, but still, it's not bad, especially for this day and age. So we'll go through the next like 5 episodes up to 15 together, I guess. Just to sort of more broadly cover things, because I don't want to cover. No, I'll just cover the next, because we're up to episode 24 currently, at least with the data that I've been able to find. So we'll just go all the way up. So 256K for 11, 200K for 12, 257K for 13, 212K for 14, 275 for 15, 209 for 16, 264 for 17, did I say 200? I said, I don't know what I said. 196K for 18, 197K for 19, 195K for 20, 26K for 21, 191K for 22, 155K for 23, 24 had 188K. So realistically, where are we? 71. Where are we? 70. 60. So that's the lowest one, 160. Yeah, the lowest episode has been 164K. Just making sure. So yeah, we haven't really gone below that, and I believe that was when the World Cup soccer was like starting and stuff like that. So, or maybe it was, I don't remember, but we did have a dip there for a little while because, there's other things going on, obviously. But overall, like close to 200K or thereabouts, is really good. Like I said, like. At least for now, at least from where we've been, it's the best that we've been doing in like over a decade or so. So at least since like the Spike era. So, you know, These are good numbers, and I'm not going through like the demo. I don't really care that much about the demo. I think the demographic. I think sometimes the demographic is like very what would you say, like not actually representative of the people that actually watch this show, or watch these sorts of shows in some ways. So a big thing is to say, okay, let's figure out who's the people, if we can group any group of people together more so into a certain slot of not advertising or marketing or whatever, that sort of thing. That's the people that we should be advertising to, but it's a lot harder to figure that out, I think. Because really, wrestling, at the end of the day, like, even if you're an alternative to WWE and you're thinking, well, then we've got to do the things that they don't do, we've got to have more adult themes or whatever else, like more creative sort of stuff that they don't really have, less PG, because they're like they do have some more adult stuff here and there, but for the most part they don't. But then again, you still have to think, well, we still have to appeal to families and kids and that sort of stuff as well. So, that's the thing. Like, the kids are a big part of dragging their parents in sometimes to a lot of these shows and things like that. Mommy, I want to see the wrestling. I want to see the Hardys and whatever, So, mom and dad sometimes do the things that the kids want, And I think wrestling captures the imagination of children very well, especially young boys and things like that. But I do think, like, when you get to see some of these girls in wrestling, that they're very inspirational. The knockouts are very inspirational to young girls, and sometimes that gets young girls to be like, yeah, I could be a badass bitch who goes out here and, slaps people around and da-da-da-da and whatever else. I could do that. Look at these baddies that are, like, not just in a romantic or sexual or whatever way. It's like, yeah, look at these girls. They're killing it. They're going out here to whoop ass, like that's very appealing, and it's empowering to see, again, these, like, all sorts of different people and from all sorts of different backgrounds not just get opportunities, but go out there and utilize those opportunities and whatnot. So yeah, it's cool to see, hey, this young, kid from Britain, they've, put all their passion on the line and they're going to go for it, or this person from Japan, or this person from China, or this person from Mexico, or whatever, like, you get to see all these people. All these people have the same sort of passion and that sort of thing, and you get to see all these people going out there to try to be the best, and it's just like any other sport, well, in a sense at least, where it's like that spirit of competition, so you want to be the best, you train and you train, and, it is one of those things. It's very much like, the Olympics or whatever else it is. When you get to see these pay-per-views, or when you get to see these big shows come around, it's like, oh, this is going to be in my hometown or whatever. It's just another attraction. It's just another piece of entertainment. It's just another thing to do on the weekend with your kids or whatever else it is, and that sort of thing. Or, I know the economic situation isn't great sometimes over there, and it's like difficult and whatnot. But at least like this is another thing I say about TNA that makes it appealing, and this is why like the ratings are pretty decent as well, because well, it's basically for free, but still. But yeah, like I think the tickets go pretty well, even if people say, "Oh, well, it's a bit expensive or whatever." Of course, it is a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's less expensive than AEW and less expensive than WWE. So yeah, you might not get to see like as many of the big names that WWE has, or whatever, or AEW has, but there's still some big names there, and especially when you can tune into it effectively for free, I think that's certainly appealing. And like again, like when they have some of these other partnerships or things going on, it's like, oh, I can just scan the QR code, or I can just, there's, how do I watch the show? If I really want to pay for it, okay, I can watch it here, I can watch it there, I can watch it, wherever, whatever. This is how I can watch it. I do think, like, again, being able to stream it again on YouTube, very good, because, like, basically everybody and their dog and their dog's dog has YouTube, so that's a good way to get those shows. Even if people have to pay for it, I think it's still worth, broadcasting it in that regard, because it is that thing of accessibility is like the number one thing that you need to have if you're a wrestling company. And this is something that I've said about like a lot of wrestling companies and whatnot. They might have, like, MLW might have some really great wrestling, and like I don't want to disparage them or disparage anyone or whatever else it is, or GCW or whoever or whatever. But like, same with New Japan or anyone like that. They used to have a time slot just after TNA, and they would get like half the viewers. That's because of a bunch of things, and we talked about that a long time ago and many times throughout. But they don't have a distribution deal in the US. Yes, they have their app and whatnot that you can, or their website that you can go on and you can watch their thing, and you can obviously go on Triller TV or whatever and those other things and see the shows and whatnot as well. But without a proper syndicated broadcasting deal here, there, and everywhere, it's like, well, how can I watch it? And that's the same thing that I say about a lot of these other promotions, especially when people are like, oh, TNA is nowhere near the number 2 promotion or the number 3 promotion or whatever. They're not even number 10, or whatever. But, well, WWE, maybe, I'm about to say New Japan, but the NWA and TNA and AEW, WWE, yeah, I can't think. Maybe MLW sometimes has a deal. They recently got a deal, I think. But most of the promotions that are out there do not, despite how good their wrestling is or how good their storytelling is or whatever else, do not have any distribution deals on cable TV in the US, in Canada, in Mexico, in several other different countries, or, like whatever. So it's like, unless you're in, and like even they might have YouTube or whatever, their visibility is a lot smaller than, and their brand awareness is a lot smaller than TNA. So yeah, TNA can just get a lot more viewers and a lot more money and a lot more merch and a lot more ad revenue and a lot more other stuff than a lot of these other promotions. And from that perspective of saying how many eyeballs can they get on their product, despite their sometimes lackluster storytelling here and there, and hopefully that will change, we'll wait and see. But again, if you're looking at purely how many people can watch the show and how many TV deals or how many broadcasting deals or how many sponsorships they have, TNA has got to be up there in the top, handful of shows, because not many promotions in the world have what TNA has. Yes, WWE and AEW have better, but there's no one that has better than them, basically. So TNA being in third, or being in a close third, fourth position is really realistic, so I think that TNA is certainly up there. If you really look at, purely the numbers, purely that's always what I want to look at. I don't want to look at, well, I think that they had a 5-star match here, and I think they had a 12-star match there. That's cool. That's great. That's awesome. And I don't want to disparage them for having those matches or whatever else it is. Absolutely. But, again, how many people were able to see it? 2 pigs and a dog? That was it? Okay. Again, if 2 people and a dog saw it, yeah, great. You went out there and had this 12-star match that basically no one saw. You went out there and killed yourself. And I get that this is part of the business sometimes. Sometimes you've got to wrestle in front of 10 people or whatever, a handful of people. And sometimes you've got to wrestle in front of 50 people or 100 people or whatever. And sometimes you're wrestling in front of 10,000 people. I don't disparage TNA for just, they didn't sell out their, whatever it was, 6K arena or whatever it was. But they sold out, more than half of, just about half of that arena, thereabouts. So that's pretty darn good, still, from where they've been, in past. Yes, it hasn't been on the same par as, some of the other bigger shows that they've had, but that is a, promotional problem. That is a storytelling problem. That is some of the creative problems that we've been talking about over the last, couple of weeks, couple of months and whatnot, and even in the last couple of years or whatnot. And I do think that there has been some level of, and again, I will say, TNA, I think they did some really good numbers for Slammiversary, and yet AEW and WWE had shows on the same night, and a lot of people that I've sort of seen around said that TNA basically had, the best show, one of the best shows they've had in a while, and it probably, was better than the WWE and AEW show, at least in their opinion. So, I don't know. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I think, a lot of the Forbidden Door stuff as well, is a little bit played out. It's very played out because, you have a lot of these talent, from New Japan and whatnot on your shows basically every other week. So it's well, yeah, I get to see Zack Sabre Jr. all the time. What's the difference between seeing him now or seeing him 2 weeks ago? And yeah, I've seen him versus Kenny Omega or him, whatever. I don't know what the matches were, you know what I mean? But I don't care either. But again, if you're saying, hey, we get to see Zack Sabre and Kenny, okay, cool. But why? I mean, it'll be a good match, but what's on the line? Why are these guys fighting? These guys have fought 300-something times, So what's the difference between this time and the last time and the next time that they're going to face? You know what I mean? Where's the story progression? Where are we at? Why are they facing each other now? Why should I care? Why should I invest my money? So if I could see Zack Sabre and Kenny, I want to see Zack Sabre versus Kenny when there's a reason to see it, when there's something on the line, when there's, plausible chance of either one winning. When it's just well, none of the New Japan guys basically ever win these matches, basically. It's like, well, why am I tuning in to see AEW sweep, basically? If I know the match outcome, basically, it's like, well, why am I watching this? You know what I mean? And it's like, well, yeah, sure, it'll be good matches and whatnot, but it's like, especially if it's happened more than once or twice or whatever. Maybe if you are somebody that's never seen their stuff or whatever, and I'm not just talking about them, but you know what I mean. Any of these guys' stuff that they've already done in the past, and you're like, well, this is a new matchup to me because I've never seen their stuff before, and I don't know how to find their other stuff that they've done because it's all on the indies, and again, difficult to find because again, a lot of those things are very small. Well, not New Japan, but like even then, it's really hard to find a lot of stuff to see and a lot of the stuff because again, it doesn't have the same level of broadcasting and the same level of things that the other promotions do have in terms of like they've got their app and their website now, and they've had that for a few years, but again, it's still like having to trudge through that to find like the matches that you want to see. I don't know. But still, is this the G1 Climax match, or is this which match are people talking about? You know, like I've seen some New Japan matches. I've seen like some handful. I don't really go and watch a lot of them. I don't go back and watch a lot of old TNA matches either, even though there's some really good ones. But still, you know, it's like, I don't know. Why would I, like, unless I really, really want to, why would I, like, I want to watch I do want to see, like, sometimes, but it's like, I would rather watch kind of what's happening now and, like, always be seeing, like, what's coming rather than, like, unless I've already seen it. It's like, obviously, if I've already seen it, it's obviously like, well, why am I going to go and watch it when I've already seen it? Just to try to remember how good it was, or how was it really that bad, or whatever else it was. Things like that. Like, you know, I don't know. But yeah, I think like a lot of things, same thing. It's like, is this actually worth the watch? And I think like Slammiversary and whatnot was worth the watch, and we'll wait and see how good, and I hope to say good things, but I won't just blow smoke up people's ass. You know what I mean? And that's where I think the difference is. I don't want to just clap my hands and praise them for everything. But I don't want to just be sitting here and saying, oh, they're shit and they're bad and they're doing a bad job. You know, I don't want to say, you know, bad things about them, but when they're doing a bad job of some things, it's like, well, dude, freaking pull your finger out and do something with this shit, because this is ridiculous, you know. But anyway, guys, yes, so those are the updates for the numbers thus far. I don't know when or whatever we're going to have another look at the numbers. Maybe Bound for Glory, maybe at the end of the year. But yeah, maybe that'll be best. Like, let's do it every like 6 months or whatever, maybe every year, and just see where we're at least for the next couple of years. We'll see, and then hopefully we'll get a bigger deal in the next like couple of years, and we'll see how that goes. Because again, like I actually said this several times as well. I think the live shows haven't actually done much better than some of the taped episodes, which surprises me, because usually like the live episodes, like they do better, but not like significantly on average. So it's like hard to say. But then again, you don't have a huge sample size. You have a lot of taped episodes, whereas you have very few like live episodes. And I think a lot of people just assume a lot of the episodes are taped anyway. So I think that might be the the not the sticky wicket to an extent, but that's could be like the point of it. A lot of people just assume it's taped and just want to see the show anyway, even if like you can find the spoilers out there and whatnot. I think a lot of people do want to see what happens anyway, even if it's like a lot of like, well, train wreck stuff, but a lot of worse or bad stuff. They still want to see, okay, I want to watch, especially like the diehard fans, I guess. But like, yeah, I think a lot of the fans still want to see what happens here and there, and if something piques their interest or whatever else it is, it's like, well, hey, that's a big time match and whatnot, so we want to see it. So we'll tune in to see it. So, or this is worth coming to pay the admission, so to speak, in a sense. But yeah. Anyway, guys, yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I hope you guys join me again in another one.